Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today I want to feature three things in a single video. We are going to have a look at two brand new sceneries, which are going to be ORBX Stockholm Arlanda, and then we'll fly it over on the Eurowings Europe A320 towards the new RD presets Faro airport. All of those brand new releases, so I do expect a lot of excitement there featuring out those new sceneries. Also, this is going to be my first video in which I have to thank Navigraph for sponsoring my ultimate subscription, including navigation data and the chart package. So we'll feature those a little bit later in this video. Finally, a lot of you have asked me if I could give a little status update as for the progress of my Airbus type rating, and I'll gladly do that in this video as well. So we're currently sitting here in one of the major halls at Stockholm Arlanda Airport, made by ORBX, available for approximately 22 euros, with my local sales tax added. The original price is 35 Australian dollars. This is one of the major halls over here, and overall I have to say that it is really detailed. However, it is not as detailed as, for example, some other airports are. So just check out the details we can see over here, and check out, for example, those seats that we see up here, where I'm not 100% sure what that is. In any case, let's go down a little bit further and maybe just have a very quick look from the lounge up here as to what things look like. What's he reading? Okay, I can't read that. Anyway, let's go down a little bit further and have a look through the main departures hall as we make our way towards our aircraft. Overall, very nice level of detail that we can see over here, but what I did notice is that occasionally there are some walls and ceilings missing. So like here, where if we go up here, everything looks good. If we go down here, then there is some stuff missing occasionally, and I did notice that throughout the airport. However, right now we're still only looking at those things that are, well, a little bit less important. Overall, looking from the outside, from where your aircraft are, we get some really nice terminal interiors. And getting closer to the boarding gates, actually details do go up, like we can see over here. And as you can see, close to the gates, we are getting more details. Now, again though, look at the top left over here, where there's kind of some text just missing up there, so that's not 100% perfect yet. But let's make our way through and see if we can find our Airbus. Probably can't. Well, here it is. Okay, nice. So that is our main boarding area over here. Something I do find a little bit interesting, I just loaded it up with the Phoenix Airbus, and apparently I did spawn in a position where the jetway does not really want to dock to the main aircraft entry door, so maybe there is something that they can enhance on the spawn points there. However, getting back to the actual scenery, look at that from the point of view that you as pilot will normally have. And I have to say, from here, the scenery looks absolutely fantastic. Especially looking into details like we have those glasses on the jetways outside over here. And then looking just about all around, the scenery does look really well. Even though the docking system down here on the ground, is that going to be realistic? Maybe. Looks like we've got some more docking systems over here, so I'll just about leave it at that and say that, yeah, maybe it actually is realistic. So, if we take it close up to the walls over here, we can see a really nice level of detail as well. So, at least looking from the pilot's position, I have to say this is a really well done airport, and my first impression of it is very, very, very good indeed. However, all that detail does come at a little bit of a cost there, and that my frame rate at the airport is a little bit it is more on par with, for example, New York, JFK, or Newark than, let's say, the default enhanced Stockholm Airport of the Nordics update. In any case, it is looking very, very good though. So, how about we just hop into our cockpit and start our pre-flight procedures, and then we can talk a little bit Airbus. By the way, I do apologize for having to use those menus over here. For some reason, my sim decided it is a good idea to kill all my click spots, and for some reason, even when I reassign them, they disappear. Well, I guess that falls under Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, before we start powering up our Airbus, a little word there on where I currently am in my type rating, because that is going to be important as I fly this thing. So I'm currently like halfway through the ground school and through the self-study phase. That includes reading the FCOMs, learning about the systems, doing web-based training and stuff like that. So while I'm building a good theoretical knowledge of the Airbus, I didn't have any practical lessons flying it yet. And even though I try to work as much as possible out of the Airbus FCOM, I do have to say that, well, not everything I do in here is going to be correct. And that's just something I want you to keep in mind, that while I'm flying this, if you see anything, if you're a rated Airbus pilot, you see anything that I'm doing wrong, then I'm very happy if you point it out. But for anybody else, don't take this as some kind of a tutorial. I'm still halfway through ground training, so I haven't had any sim lessons in the Airbus yet. And so far my focus actually is the theory. Also keep in mind, I'm doing an A330 type rating, not an A321. So for that reason, if you see me do some stuff that is A330 specific and not A320 specific, then that is kinda to be expected. Okay, very well though. I would say with that, we are pretty much done with the theory and the discussions. So I suppose we hop into the pilot seat. Actually, the first officer seat, as that is from where I am currently practicing for my type rating. And for that reason, that is where I am going to fly this one as well. Alright, then let's start with the safety inspections. The engine master levers are off, engine start selector normal, weather radar should be calibrated and all on auto and off, landing gear lever down, and the wipers are off. Okay, batteries greater than 25.5 volts, that means we can switch them on. External power on. Airplane is going to take a little while to power up to 3 minutes, so in that time we're not supposed to really touch a lot. But what I am quickly going to do is check the APU fire extinguishers and flake on the IRS. We're at a rather northerly latitude here in Stockholm, so IRS alignment time is going to be a thing today. It is going to take a little bit longer than in the typical European latitudes. Here you can see it, currently 9 minutes for the alignment. Okay then. Lights, we can turn them all off, as this is going to be a complete flight in daylight conditions, like this. And the final thing that we do, that is a little bit new to me, in the 737 flow I would have done that a lot later, but my new company correctly says that we want to tune those radios as early as possible so that we are reachable in case anybody wants to talk to us. The little difference I'll make here, however, is that I'll not set Honeycomb active quite yet, as we're flying in VATSIM, and I don't want everybody talking over us. When flying with ATC, that would be a different thing, of course. Okay then, A320 CFM engines, and we have a current database, and for the init, we're just about going to request that. And finally, once our data has initialized, let's quickly go to the ATSU, ASC menu, flight init, and we can initialize that as well, so that our aircraft can start setting up. Also, one of the first things, I want my weather. Okay, so oxygen pressure 1800, hydraulic quantities looking good, and engine oil quantities looking good as well. And the final check before we can start the walk around, flaps to agree with the lever, and the spoilers are disarmed and retracted. Okay, so with that, our PM can now go outside for the walk around, and the first thing we'll do before we start our actual flight is going to be our EFB setup. Want to change that, current Zulu chime 0947, and let's make it a 1000 on the hour departure. Probably going to be a little bit delayed, but we want to be realistic, don't we? And who's flying on time these days anyway? Okay, let's get the latest OFP data and make our fuel decision. So, weather, we've got a segment en route here, top flight level 400, and that is thunderstorms observed, and down here, top level 420, also thunderstorms observed, so within the Madrid FIR, that can be a thing. For our destination, however, Faro is looking good. It's all covered, slightly variable winds today, so that's looking quite good. Destination alternate, we have Lisbon as a primary alternate, weather's looking very good as well. Malaga, a couple of rain showers there, but that's only tempo until 0900, so that is pretty much over. And for our other alternates, they are looking all right there as well. Okay, cool. So with that, I'd say we can take our standard amount of fuel, and if we run through that, we can see that 13.4 plus taxi fuel, so 13.7, something like that. Maybe just round it up to 14 tons. Looks like a good fuel quantity for us. So 13,604 they say over here. Let's make that 14, just in order if we need to deviate around some of those thunderstorms. We'll take 14, load aircraft, fast time, off we go. Okay, cool. While the loading is taking place, we can start with our system setup. So oxygen supply goes on, voice recorder control goes on. The evacuation switch is in the captain and purser position, IRS is aligning. And going on to the lights, strobe lights, nav logo lights, no smoking, and the emergency exits. With the seatbelts, we have to wait until refueling is completed. On 41 passengers, that means the pack flow is going to stay in normal. Going up to the electrical panel, we got to check our batteries. So let's quickly go to the elec page, and then we can switch the batteries off. Quickly verify it down here, and then switch them back on again. And that is going to initiate a charging cycle for the batteries. Fuel pumps. Seems like different operators have different policies. In my current AFCOM, I couldn't find anything that tells me not to turn them on. And then the fire warnings. That one works. And that one works. The APU we checked earlier. So we are going to carry a little bit of live cargo today. Maybe some dogs that somebody is taking to their holidays. So for that reason, let's turn the temperature of the aft cargo hold up a little bit. And that's going to be that. Also, we make sure that the PA button is slightly on the third audio control panel, so that the PAs are going to be recorded on the on the voice recorder. So, let's see, we should have gotten some weather in the meantime. Indeed we did. 01088, light rain, 17 degrees, 1016. 1016 up here. Clock is set to GPS, and the skid is turned on. Okay. And going down to the pedestal, we can actually start our MCDU setup. So we're going to be the Eurowings 25 Romeo Whiskey, cost index 10, and initially flight level 360. And yes, active flight plan uplink is all copied. Okay, let's request our current wind data, and then we can depart off runway 1 left. The wind is going to be straight on that runway, and we have the PETF 1 Charlie departure, insert that, and for the arrival we will have the IL as Zulu runway 28 if I'm not mistaken, but let's have a very quick look into the charts. So the charts currently provided by Navigraph, and really recommendable. Definitely the best chart product that is currently out there for flight simulation. So let's depart Stockholm, and we need the airport chart, and then we should have a parking chart somewhere as well. Is that it? No. Parking stands and departure routes, is that it? A little bit too much to the north, so that should be it. Yep, that's it. We're parking on 37 down here. So let's see if we can find our SID real quick. We go, Peter F1 Charlie. There it is. And then finally, initial climb is 5,000. We're going to remember that. Let's now look into the arrivals. And we can pre-select that as well. So, quick check, which star are we going to fly? Iraq. Okay, Narek 7 Alpha, that sounds like a thing, and that is going to be for runway 2A. Perfect. So Narek 7 Alpha, and then we need a gap T transition. Quick look into the approach charts. And then we got the ILS Zulu runway 28 from gap T. Perfect. So that's what we'll take. ILS Zulu 28. RX 7 Alpha, transition gap T. And that looks good to me. Okay, secondary flight plan. One left is our confirmed departure runway, so we aren't going to change anything there. However, after PTF, I am going to program an immediate return. What did I do now? Let's try that once more. Ah, I forgot a letter there. But interesting that it throws us back to... What's that? That's funny. Okay, let's try that once more. Probably found a Phoenix bug there. So, PTF, new destination. Stockholm, and then we'll plan the ILS runway 1 right. We don't need any transition or via for that. Okay, perfect. Cool. Enough setup. Let's quickly see, but I don't think that we'll need anything. I do believe it is a complete RNAV departure. But let's be sure. And indeed it is. We don't need any NAV8 setup. Okay then, in a draft, let's grab the load sheet from the other MCDU. Got a telex there, connected to VATSIM, thank you. Load sheet, why do we have two of those? Well, both prelim. Okay, we'll start with this one. And that's 57 tons of zero fuel weight. What you can do if you don't have any zero fuel CG available at the planning stage, we do have one from the load sheet here, but if you don't, then you can simply use 25. Then we plan 14 tons of fuel. And finally, I don't like the alternate fuel over here. Now that's not in the AFCOM or anything, but the standard diversion fuel that the FMC calculates is just so little that I don't think it is correct at all. For that reason, let's enter it manually, 1.4 tons for the diversion, and that is going to give us a much more accurate extra time and fuel. Look at that. It calculates 300 kilograms for a diversion from Faro to Lisbon, which is like half an hour flight time. So, do that manually, then we get a much more realistic extra fuel and extra time value there. Okay then, let's go ahead with our departure performance. We're going to be in Stockholm, 1 left, aircraft loaded, thank you. We'll take a wet surface, just because they say it's light rain occasionally, so in case it starts raining now, we at least have it prepared. Also, the packs will be on, we don't need to be that, bad, saving fuel. Okay, full length is the only figures we got, so we have flaps to up trim 0.4, 58 degrees flex temperature. So you got 0.4 up, and then did I say 58 or 56? 58. Okay, take a speeds 44, 53, 57. Let's quickly enter those. 44, 53. Oh, come on. I did press that one. That's better. And 157. Okay, reduction acceleration, that's noise abatement procedure number 2. That is alright, and with that our FMC is done. So then let's quickly check the rest of the pedestal, and then we should be ready with this. So we got the switchings all in normal. We can go through the ecam pages over here real quick. So oil quantity is checked. Bleed page, not a lot to see there really with the engines and APU shut off. Landing elevation is auto and 0 feet, that's important. Like page looks good. Unbelievable how crowded this is. After I've done the A330 theory, on the A330 it's really split between AC and DC pages. And it looks a lot more tidy. Hydraulic system looking good. Fuel system. The fuel is balanced, that's the important thing here. APU, well, it's shut down at the moment. Temperature, why is it always getting that hot in the cockpit? Let's do something about it. 17 degrees, so we do have a very good source for ventilation out there. Okay, door page looking good. Looks like the boarding is completed already. Cut to an operative that is acceptable for this stage. If we press the recall button for a couple seconds, it should recall anything from previous flight. Okay. Refueling is done, so we can turn on the seatbelts, and if we go down over here, flying on the right side, so we're going to select the transponder number 2. Basically, when CM2 is flying, you're going to use autopilot 2 and transponder 2. When CM1 is flying, autopilot 1 and transponder 1. Okay, down here, everything looking good. We can reset the rudder trim, and that's basically it. Okay, final thing, we are going to check the oxygen. And before we do that, we just got to contact the ground guys to make sure that nobody's at the headset. But let's assume we've done that. So that's looking good, going up here, brightness is alright. And finally, we said we have a QNH on 1016 constraints, and we can put up both VORs. Initial climb we said is going to be 5,000, so let's use that. Okay, and that is our setup completed. So I would say we can start with a briefing, and the briefing is something really interesting here, because the smarter briefing philosophy by Airbus is something that I really like. Coming from an airline where we did a lot of talking in our standard operating procedures, this one is making it quite easier. And it actually makes a lot of sense as well, but you're going to see that in a moment. So, first of all, the briefing is not started by the pilot flying, but by the pilot monitoring. For that reason, let's quickly head over to our pilot monitoring seat today, and we're going to start it from here. Okay, so we're departing Stockholm, runway 1 left, PTF 1 Charlie departure. First cleared altitude is going to be 5,000. The MSA and MORA for the departure, now I quickly need my chart again, is going to be 2,200 feet, so we are safe at anything above that. Extra fuel and time, we loaded 400 kilos more, and it's giving us an extra time of 24 minutes. Now the pilot flying is going to continue. Okay. So let's have a look into our taxi routing and some hotspots. We are currently parking on stand number 37 on the apron Charlie Delta down here, and it's going to be pushed back into the bay and then straight out onto Yankee, and via Yankee we'll taxi to the full length. There's a hotspot here at Delta Uniform, which is basically a little roundabout they have over here. So today we just plan to go straight, and I don't see any problems getting impacted from the hotspot. Okay. So, stop margin for the rejected takeoff, we do not really have from the Phoenix, so I can't say anything about that. Engine outsits straight ahead, 25 miles, climbing to an altitude of 3,000, that keeps it safe above the MSA 2,200. Immediate return, we are going to be overweight, we're at roughly 70 tons today, but nonetheless 71 tons. If we really have to, we come back immediately. The secondary flight plan is prepared for an ILS approach to runway 1 right, which we have down here. And finally, special operations, I do not see anything. Yeah, threats for the departure, I don't see anything as well. It's just going to be a standard day. And that's it. Do you have any questions about the briefing? No. Very good. What you're going to notice in those briefings is that we do not go through the routing of the SIT and stuff like that. So we really just name the SIT, name the initial climb, and the takeoff runway. The reason for that is that both of us will have checked the SID against the chart previously, so there's really no need to read everything out. Keep the briefing concise, and most importantly, keep it engaged so that the PM is really going to be involved and not stop listening after the first 20 seconds. Okay, when the briefing is complete, we can do the cockpit preparation checklist. Gear pins and covers removed, fuel quantity, got 14 tons and balanced, seatbelts on, ADIRS, nav and barrel rev QNH 1016. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Okay, we have a company message, and I suspect it is a load sheet, so I'm just going to open it on the CM1 MCDU here. And indeed, it is the load sheet. What a surprise. Okay, cool. So that is a final load sheet in compliance with edition number 1. Zero fuel weight 56.9 against 57.0. That is alright. And our CG is going to be 30.8. Okay, takeoff weight 70.7, and we have 70.8. Yeah, we gotta subtract taxi fuel from that, so that makes sense. Okay, accept. And then finally, we did our performance with 70.8 and 26.9. Looking into the load sheet, 26.9 is correct, so we can keep it as it is, and we can keep our performance. Okay, load sheet is accepted. And flight plan page on PM and performance page on PF. Alright, let's get our pushback tug and let's get ready, see what GSX can do up here. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I do not have any profile for Stockholm at the moment, so if GSX pushes us somewhere where it shouldn't push us, then my apologies for that. Okay, starting APU, and while that thing starts, the captain can go ahead and do the welcome announcement to the passengers, so let's do that. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome aboard this Eurowings Europe flight, taking you from Stockholm, Arlanda towards Faro. My name is Emmanuel, I'm going to be your captain today on this Airbus A320 aircraft. Flight time is going to be 4 hours and 20 minutes, we expect a smooth ride at 37,000 feet. The cabin crew is shortly going to point out the safety features on board this Airbus A320 aircraft. I would like to ask you to pay your full attention, as that is not just for your own safety, but also for the safety of the passengers sitting around you. Thank you for your attention, and once again, welcome aboard. Okay, they're done. APU is starting, so let's close those windows. Make sure that the red handle is actually showing. Okay, they are ready, it seems, so say we want to go nose to the left. APU should be up any second. Park and brake is set. Okay, so the park and brake is set. The trucks can be disconnected. Stand by for the ground power. Here we go. APU avail. Without the ground power can go as well.
Locking gear.
Okay, at the moment, unfortunately, no air traffic control online, so it's going to be a Honeycomb departure. So let's get that up, and then we can get going. Assuming our pushback clearance is received, so let's go ahead with the before start procedure. Beacon on, windows locked, doors closed, thrust lever idle, park brake set, before start checklist. Park and brake set, takeoff speeds and thrust. We got V1 144, VR 153, V2 157, flex temperature 58. Windows closed, beacon on, before start checklist complete. Okay, park and brake off, let's go.
Push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Interesting accent that GSX is giving the ground guys here in Stockholm. Normally my experience with the Nordic countries is that their English is really, really good. Interesting, that's our first taxiway here, and GSX is simply pushing us straight over it. Maybe it's trying to take us on the other taxi line? Yeah, that just about looks like it, but you need to start turning now, my friend.
Set parking brakes.
If you just heard that, that was the sound of a face palm. That much about our turn. Well, GSX. Okay, starting engine number 1. Do note, the FCOM tells us to start engine number 1 first, as it is connected to the hydraulic system that also supplies our brakes. The start is fully automatic, we don't need to do any callouts, we don't need to do, well, anything. Technically speaking, we don't even need to monitor it, because if anything goes wrong, the Airbus is gonna advise us. But you know me, and yeah, here we go. I told you it's gonna advise us. However, everything seems to be looking normal up there. What's that status page? Okay, probably in the process of powering up the hydraulics right now.
Tow truck disconnected.
Okay, that's a good start on number 1. Start on number 2.
Left is clear, right is clear.
Yeah, thank you once again for nothing, GSX. You're clear to disconnect. See you on the right hand side with a pin, and have an awesome day spreading love amongst flight simmers. Okay, number 2 is almost started. The igniter is off already. And that's the sound of the generator coming online. Here we go. Okay, GSX is running. We just about saw him with a pin there as well. We said it's going to be a flap 2 departure. Option point 4, ECAM looks good. Flight control track. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. After start checklist. Anti-ice. Off. ECAM status checked. Pitch trim. We've got 26 and a bit %. Rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist, complete. Okay, clear right, clear left. Brake check, pressure 0. So straight ahead to the end, and then to the left. Here on both sides. I'm a little bit surprised that there's so little traffic here. I mean, it's something like 12 o'clock. Oh, there's someone. I was just about to say, brand new scenery and nobody flying? Well, that's someone as well. So that's much better. Okay, let's go ahead with the taxi items. Let's get rid of that GSX panel, which is constantly screwing us. Okay, very quick review of the takeoff brief. It's going to be runway 1 left, flags temperature 58, speeds 44, 53, 57, and standard noise abatement to departure, going straight ahead, left turn, climbing a 5000, engine out, straight ahead, 25 miles, climbing 3000, MSA 2200. That's basically it. Any questions? No? Okay. Taxi checklist. Flight controls, checked. Flap setting, config 2. Radar and PWS, on and auto. Engine start selector, normal. ECAM memo, takeoff no blue. Taxi checklist, complete. Yeah, let's find out where that guy approaching runway 1 left is. He's still quite a bit out, okay. So we can depart normally. Arlanda traffic, Eurowings 25 Romeo Golf Lamp and takeoff runway 01 left. So that's how you do it on VATSIM when there's no ATC. You just about talk to one another. Lineup checklist, takeoff runway. That is 01 left via Yankee 1. TCAS, TARA, PAX, on, lineup checklist complete. For that Lufthansa is still like 7 miles out. Normally, I set myself the limit to start the lineup when the guys are 4 miles out. That normally works very well on VATSIM. Some people just go around unnecessarily when you line up when they are 10 miles out, but those people you can't help anyway. Okay, takeoff. Manflex 58, SS runway, auto thrust blue. Thrust set.
Stockholm traffic. Number 5 people, 5 technical, final 01 set.
100 knots. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Probably one of the hardest things for me at the moment to get the first positive climb and then gear up call out in that sequence again, since we did it the opposite way around in my old operator. Okay, lots of stuff happening at the same time now. Starting the turn, starting the acceleration, and setting climb thrust. So we've got thrust line climb, auto thrust. Flap 1. Speed checked. Flap 1.
Stockholm traffic, Lufthansa 5 people, 5 buses, 01 set.
Gonna keep the slats out for a little bit due to the speed restriction here of 205 knots. Important thing to check here is that our packs are on, which they are. So that is really the one thing that I really want to be looking at. In any case, if we messed anything up, the others would warn us about it anyway. Interesting thing, by the way, I'm constantly pushing my nose down, then I let it go of the stick and the Phoenix just takes the nose back up again. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's climb to a higher level. Let's say 150 initially. Got a 15000 in blue. Okay, now we can accelerate and flaps 0. Speed checked, flaps 0. That's also a trigger to turn those off. There we go. Autopilot 2. Okay, there is no more after takeoff checklist, as basically for anything that we can mess up that's going to have any adverse consequence on our flight, the aircraft would alert us to it anyway. Is that standard? Standard cross-check, passing flight level 53 now. Checked. Okay, and that is our setup. With that, we're pretty much done over here, and we can continue our climb to cruising level. Now, the last thing we gotta do is pass on 10,000. We gotta flick a couple of switches, and that's really it. I absolutely love how little there is to do in the Airbus. Would be nice if it climbed a little bit better occasionally, but well, we gotta live with that, do we? Okay, in any case, we can continue to climb for now. Unfortunately, still no weather radar. That would be really handy when I'm looking at this. Because I'm pretty sure in an area as dark as this, there would be quite a couple of spots that I would certainly avoid flying into. However, it is what it is, so... Awesome, 10,000, starting the acceleration, and I am definitely going to keep the seatbelts on for now. So, nothing on the ecam, no nav aids. Let's take the active to the secondary. Up to 340, max 366. Now, let's quickly go ahead and do a couple of mathematics in order to find out our actual real optimum level. And in order to do that, let's take the FlySmart Plus app from Airbus. And you can actually get a free version from that in the Apple App Store with a demo of exactly the type of aircraft that Phoenix has chosen to model. So very recommendable to try that out. I can really recommend it. Also, before we start doing that, let's set up a little higher flight level here. Let's say 300 initially. Then we'll do the mathematics and then determine exactly how high we really want to go. I just started turning up the light, and now it's getting a little bit brighter again. Well, so be it. Oh, we got the lights on. Okay, cool. So let's quickly head over into the Airbus FlySmart app and check what our actual figures are gonna look like. If you haven't watched my video on how to use this yet, I can certainly recommend it. I'm going to link it in the video description below. So that's the demo version of the Airbus FlySmart. And we can see we only got the Airbus A320 in there. Flight number, well, this is just a test flight, and we can just select some demo airports, because all we want is this. Let's go to cruise, and then we need a little bit of data there from our EFB, from the flight plan to be a bit more precise, and basically what we need is the average wind component, which is going to be a headwind of 28 knots, then the ESSA deviation. Now that one we can find a little bit further down in the flight plan, but we're basically looking at 4 degrees of ESSA deviation. Anti-ice is going to be off in the cruise. Air conditioning off as well. Gross weight we're estimating, let's calculate at 69 tons. Why doesn't it like that? Oh, yeah, because it's 69.0. No? Let's try that once more. That's interesting. Normally it does this. But 68 is good as well. Our current gross weight is 70 tons, so we're a little bit lighter by the time we reach our top of climb. Our CG we can find on the fuel prediction page, 27.5. Let's see if it's gonna accept that. It does. And then 36,000 is planned initially. Cost index 10. Compute. Here we go. We can see optimum altitude flight level 360. Let's try once more if I can modify this. Let's say 70 tons. It doesn't let me do that. Okay. In any case, that's roughly what we need over here. So, flight level 360 is calculated at the optimum. And that's for 2 tons less. But we can see the maximum is 1,300 feet above that. So even if we're 2 tons heavier, then we can still take 360. Alright, so that's just a little thing there that I want to check out on. Now let's go back into the aircraft to put that into practice. And here we are back in our aircraft. So, this one says optimum is flight level 340. The EFB tells us it's flight level 360, so we are going to go to flight level 360. And that is what we've entered as well. Okay, set flight level 360 blue. Also note, I put the engine anti-ice on in the meantime, since we're still in IMC and the outside air temperature is below 10 degrees. Keeping the seatbelts on for now as well. Should be getting out of that, hopefully, very soon. Okay, in any case, that is pretty much all we needed to do for now. So from here on, it's just going to be a little bit of relaxing and a little bit of enjoying the flight. And then I see you as we start our preparation for the approach into Faro. One last thing there, as soon as we have passed Belgian airspace and are going to head as soon as we have passed the Dutch airspace and head into the Belgian airspace, we'll have to do step climb level 370 because we are flying southbound and they're looking for an odd flight level basically in the southern part of Europe, as they are doing north-south rules instead of east-west that the most of the rest of the world is using. In any case, that is mostly it. So, very quick overview for you on the route that we're about to fly. We're obviously going into the high-level airspace, like this. If only the chart would load. It seemed to have a little problem in the last couple of days with that, but okay. Then we have to do without the charts for now. Maybe they're gonna load after a little while. I'll keep it open, keep a look on it, and then I see you a little bit later throughout the flight. Oh boy. Lovely Phoenix ice detectors here. Look at that. We got a static air temperature below -40, so anti-ice shouldn't be required. And for some reason, it claims that it is still detecting ice. Well, so be it. In any case, we are out of the turbulent zone, so we can release our passengers now. Okay, so now we should definitely be out of the icing. Yeah, that ice detector is nuts. I deem it broken. Let's ignore that. Alright then, back onto the flight. slowly approaching our top of descent, so it's time to start setting up for arrival into Faro. First thing first, let's get the present weather to be sure that we're actually preparing the correct arrival. So we want LPFR, and I want the latest META, please. Send that request. Do note, I kinda prefer using the AOC function for that over the EFB, even though the EFB in the Phoenix has the ability to request weather as well, but, well, this data link is just a little bit more realistic there, so for that reason I prefer to use that, even though obviously I could just use this as well, and it would give me the latest weather data as well. What I found interesting is sometimes you get different weather between the two, so got the weather over here this time is from 0930, this is 0930 as well, but I've had it already that the weather requested through the AOC was a little bit older than the weather that became available through the electronic flight bag, so small little difference there, but I kind of prefer to use the FMC for that. Okay, in any case, we can now start preparing for the arrival. This is definitely going to be a runway 28 over there, no doubt about it. So let's start by getting the right setup. Interesting, by the way, the Android chart still don't load. That seems to happen since a couple of days. I'm going to contact Navigraph to find out if that is anything they're aware of. Okay then, well, with the latest weather available, we also want to do a quick approach calculation. So, Faro runway 28, it's going to be a dry runway, and the weather, we can simply apply that. QNH 1011, we can pre-select that in the cruise as well. And do watch this, as I'm changing my QNH over here. You will notice that the Airbus is not really going to correct for that. It simply stays in the pressure altitude where it currently is. So that way you can pre-select your QNH before you are actually going to start your descent. Nice little trick there how you can pre-select it. Okay then. Quick look, what do we have on the TCAS over there? Those guys just popped up. You might have to clear this one over there. If, well, we're gonna monitor it before we start our descent, so hopefully we will have cleared him by then. Otherwise, we need to go off track a couple of miles. Okay, so landing weight, let's see what the box is saying. 4.4 EFOP, that means we're going to burn 800 kilos, so 61.3 is going to be our gross weight on that landing. And in here we have 61.3. Low auto brake, idle reverse, auto thrust on, flaps. Well, let's see what actually makes sense there. I'm kind of tempted to make it a flap 3 landing, as that is just a bit more economical. And if we look at the landing runway, then we can see we got 2,490 meter, and Romeo Golf basically is the exit we want to take. So we basically got like 2,000 meters to get there. So now we can do a little bit of calculation and find out what might and might not work. But as you can see, low auto brakes gives us something like 2,200 meters, but it is a high-speed turnoff. However, we need to keep in mind the factored landing distance as well there. So reverser shouldn't make a difference on a dry runway, so that we cannot use. Auto brake obviously does make a difference, and it makes quite a difference. However, we want to avoid medium auto brake if possible. However, flap full is probably the best solution here, giving us 2,077 meters, and if we have the exit at about 2,000, it is a rapid exit taxiway, so for that reason we can still enter it at 50 knots, so auto brake low, full flap will be the configuration of choice. Okay, quick look through our plan note, make sure that we actually have only the correct data here, and that looks quite alright to me. Narek basically is the border between Spanish and Portuguese airspace, as we can see on our approach charts. So what I'm going to do to solve the problem with the aircraft that are currently flying below us, I will proceed direct to Narek, and that should give me ample separation once we need to start descending. So Narek looks good, insert. Obviously that brings us a little bit closer to our top of descent, that's why it says enter destination data now. In any case, that is what we wanted to have a look at. Let's quickly check out the actual arrival we have down there. Starting at Gapti, and we basically go from Narek to Gapti, which is what we have on the ND here as well. Into the ILS approach. So, Gapti towards the 9-mile point, and that is basically that. Then our final approach point is going to be at 60 meters, 2,000 feet. And then here we have the Fox, 2,000 feet, 6 miles. And it is a 3-degree glide versus a 3-degree glide. Okay, that pretty much all makes sense, 218 the minimum. Okay, last thing we need to check real quick is the missed approach. And for the missed approach, fairly easy, climb straight at to 3,000 feet. When passing 2,000, turn left to Gimal, holding and contact Faro approach. And then here we got 2,000 Gimal, and that's it. The holding is pre-inserted, as you can see over there. Alright, cool. So we don't need any nav aids for that one. For the navigation, we have GPS primary. I am going to use my bearing and distance, just so that I know my direct distance to the airport in case we're getting some sort of shortcuts or radar vectors. Descent speed, well, I'm not 100% sure where the aircraft behind us are going, but we'll keep an eye on it, and in case they're going to the same destination, I might have to increase the descent speed a little bit, but for now we are just about going to keep it at 265, which equals our cost index. Okay then, approach data, and we can use our uplinked weather for that. Weather data, that's what we're looking for, 24089, 251011. So 24089, 251011. Minimums 218, config full as we briefed it. Extra fuel, plenty. And the secondary is just going to stay a copy of the active, really. Okay, that's the FMC setup complete. We got our minimums, we got the order breaks. Got a couple more company messages, might just about read through those real quick. Telex is just a VATSIM connection, I was disconnected for a short moment. That's ATC, and that's delay. Yeah, we've done that. So that's pretty much our setup. In case you're wondering, the elapsed timer over here is bound to real time while I ran my simulator at 2x time acceleration, which the Phoenix luckily supports. You can find that under MCU menu, and then you go to maintenance, and down here you can change the sim rate between normal and 2x. Just be careful not to accidentally hit the FMC reset button. You can kind of guess what that one is gonna do. Okay, so that's our setup pretty much completed. Then let's go ahead and do the approach briefing real quick. Again, the Airbus briefings are really interesting in that they are so incredibly short. So for that reason, let's go ahead. And once again, it is going to be the PM's turn to start this. So, PM in our case is the captain, so the captain can go ahead and start the briefing. Bora for the arrival, 1500 in the south up to 3800 in the north. The stars the Narek's arrival for an ILS approach Zulu, runway 28, minimum 218. Go around straight at 2000, left turn gimbal to hold, and climb to 3000 feet. Extra fuel over an hour, so that's ample fuel available. From now the part of flying continues. Guidance for the approach is going to be probably radar vectored. But in case there's nothing online, we're just about going to follow the green line. We'll use Al-Navina, basically. Landing flap setting full, stop margin is going to be in the region of around 200 meters. Reversers do not need to be used, so idle reverse is sufficient. Auto brakes low gets us off at the first rapid exit taxiway, and from there we are going to turn onto the parallel taxiway and then onto the apron. Our parking stand is going to be over here in at Bravo, and then we are going to go straight on some of these. I'm thinking if I should just go into Alpha so that we can see a little bit more of the airport as we are approaching the new RD preset airport. Probably going to do that. Okay, No hotspots really, however we need to have a close look over here. If we are going over the apron, make sure that there is nobody pushing, and when we're turning left over here, make sure nobody's coming out of Bravo so that we don't run into anybody. No specials today, however there is one threat that I would like to identify, and that is the possibility for some turbulence. In the recent few weeks really, they have once again worsened the turbulence model, and it is my experience that in the past couple of days we are normally going to get, well, far too much turbulence on the lower levels, making it very difficult to keep up and get your airspeed reduced. For that reason, be very sure that our speed is under control by the time we reach 6 miles, where we're going to deploy flap 2. So by that time we really need the speed at the F speed and not above that. Okay, any questions on the briefing? No? Very good. There's no descent checklist, so at this point we can just relax again a little bit and monitor our descent. Something that you can already mentally prepare for when you're approaching Faro. In Portuguese airspace, they normally clear you down, well, pretty much the entire way. So, approaching Faro, you would normally, from cruise level, get a descent to like 4,000 feet and your QNH straight away. Obviously, we are approaching Faro through the Spanish airspace today, so for that reason, that is probably not going to happen, but who knows? Seeing that there is no ATC online at the moment, I'm fairly certain we're going to get a very good descent straight away. Alright then, I would say with that it's time to accelerate it a little bit once more, and once we get to the more interesting stages of the flight, I'll be straight there with you again. We're approaching 10,000 feet. At this point, I am going to go to selected speed because the Fenix Airbus just has too much drag and therefore the speed always drops down to 230 knots, which I really don't want to happen. Also, passing 10,000, it's time to run a procedure. Lights on, seatbelts on, constraints, ILS, same on the other end side. Nothing on the engine warning display, and the tuned nav aids are good. Alright. And since we went to selected speed, we can already activate the approach phase, as we're going to stay in selected until we eventually start decelerating. And once we start decelerating, that means we only need to push in the speed knob, and then the airplane is going to reduce its speed all by itself. Okay then, down to 3,000 feet, set QNH 1011. Then we have 1011 cross-check, passing 8,700 now. Checked. Okay, approach checklist, please. Faro ref, QNH 1011, seatbelts on, minimums. Faro 218, auto brake, low, engine start selector. Normal, approach checklist complete. Quickly bring our seat into the right position again. That looks better. Right, nothing on the T-cars. Looking at Vatspy, there doesn't seem to be any traffic over there as well, so everything is good to start our arrival just like this. The arrival into Faro is just beautiful, isn't it? If you look at the coastlines, if you look at everything on the approach over here, that is one of those places. That's really all I can say. It's one of those places. In any case, we still have to focus on our flying and not too much on the terrain. Even though it is lovely looking outside, it is even more lovely to be sure that we actually get there. Okay, frequency 109.5, India Fox Fox, and that's what we get. Approach on the glide slope. We're cleared for the ILS. We'll start with localizer only because we're still a little bit above the glide over here, so ultimately we want to be sure that we do not accidentally capture a secondary glide. And also, let's go to open descent. So we got thrust idle, OPDES, and lock star. Now we're within one dot, but I just want to use the drag of the airplane to descend below the glide, and then below the glide we're going to go into almost level flight to lose our airspeed, which is how Airbus recommends to do it. A little different from how we did it in the 737, where we basically tried to do it in one continuous descent. We still have to do a CDA. That's still a legal requirement. However, in Airbus world, you basically do it with a short, almost level segment. And keep in mind, you still meet your CDA criteria when you have a 2.5 nautical mile level segment. So 11 miles out, that looks like a good moment. Speed is managed, and now the Airbus is going to start losing its speed, approach mode armed, and that should give us a nice idle thrust intercept. Last stop star, speed. Around altitude 3000 feet set. Flaps 1, speed checked, flaps 1. Glide slope. Faro traffic, Orwings 25 Whiskey Romeo established, 8 miles final, runway 28. Okay, let's use a bit of speed brake here in order to get our speed down. That's what I meant earlier in the briefing, that the sim tends to give you excessive energy here. Okay, flap 2. Speed check, flap 2. Get down. Flap 3. Speed check, flap 3. And flaps full. Speed check, flaps full. Landing checklist. ECA memo, landing no blue. Landing checklist complete.
1000.
Checked. Okay, looks about perfect. No traffic over there, so I'm not going to do any more calls on Honeycomb. Autopilot off.
Traffic scan identified for a distribution start from them for G5.
Okay, somebody pushing, that's not going to be much of a problem. Land.
300. 100 above.
Checked.
200. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Restart. 5.
Okay, reverse green, spoiler decel. $70 knots. Manual brake. And here we are. Welcome to Faro. Let's go ahead and vacate that runway. Okay, I'm gonna vacate onto the main taxiway and then we can do our cleanup work and the housekeeping. We are all clear on the right. And this is our preset new Faro scenery. Okay, so time to do some housekeeping. Temperature's below 30, so we can retract the flaps. After landing checklist, radar and PWS off. After landing checklist complete. Okay, so the Scandinavian is over there, then we're gonna take the little shortcut through the left over there to take a look at the apron and see what we got there. That's gonna be Alpha over the apron over here. Probably not the way that we are supposed to taxi, but you get where I'm going with this. Nice little texture alignment there. Almost, at least. And max wingspan 40 meters. No problem for our A320, which is just under 38. And we're all clear on the right. The car is holding. The other side as well. Ouch. That looks a little not nice for a pilot to see stuff like that.
Faro traffic Scandinavian 2848 testing Charlie and Papa to hold a point runway 28.
Okay, where's that Scandinavian going? Charlie and Papa, so he's going to the right, then we are not going to get into his way. Very good. That's how it works on VATSIM when there's no ATC. Okay, so that guy's going, and that guy, I have no clue what he's doing.
Faro traffic, Scandinavian 28, Delta Hotel, following company to runway 28 for departure.
Okay, that's what he's doing. Very good. So he's going out to the right as well, then we can go straight in. Okay, over here's the hotspot that I briefed earlier. When we start the left turn onto the apron, might be very easy to miss somebody coming from the right-hand side over here. By the way, very nice texture work here on the apron, I have to say. At times, not entirely crisp, like over here. You can see the textures are a little bit blurry and a little bit interestingly aligned over there. But, nonetheless, I think the overall impression we're getting from the apron is really good. Okay, let's turn in straight over here, 318. And two Scandinavians down in Faro. On a bet they're doing the flight to Stockholm, the one where we just came from. Check out the two sceneries as well. Okay, obviously I forgot to prepare GSX. For that reason we don't have Marshall available. But that doesn't matter, then we're just gonna park ourselves. Okay, that should be sufficient. Park brake set, APU is on.
Faro traffic Scandinavian 2848, lining up and departing runway 28.
Okay, thanks. I've had it with ATC. So, engines are below 20%. The chocks are in position, so we can release a brake for cooling. Parking checklist. Parking brake on chocks. Chock set. Engines off. Wing light off. Fuel pump off. Parking checklist complete. Alright, there we have it. Welcome to Faro. Now, let's use the time while we have it to check out what the terminal looks like from the inside. Again, I apologize for using the menus over here. Yeah, that's a nice place to start. But we're straight into the action, it seems. So I suppose this is the arrivals or the departures hall? Probably the departures, it has to be. Otherwise people wouldn't be queuing in this direction. And picking up through the buses right here, and then they're probably driven to the gates. But let's have a look into our directions. And have a look how I parked. I didn't break the plane, that's the most important thing there. And this is the departures hall close to the jetways. Look at that, our return passengers are queuing already. Getting ready to go, and the Scandinavian is going there as well. Neat. Okay, so that's what the departures hall looks like. A little bit less detailed than what we saw at Stockholm, but nonetheless, at least seen from the cockpit, this actually looked quite alright. And the performance is superb as well over here. Contrary to our departure, I do actually have very, very good frame rates over here, so there is absolutely nothing to complain about. Okay. Just want to show you once more what that looks like from the pilot's point of view. If we jump down here, this is what it looks like. And this is where I want to go. So that's our way up, and our way down to the security control. Looks a little bit empty over here. I would kind of have hoped to have a bit more going on back here, but apparently that's what it is. Can we somehow take a little shortcut to the other hall? Yeah, we can. So, do we have anything over here? Well, this looks quite cool, the bar. Can we see that from the inside? Ah, okay. 2D texture, but when you're walking around it, it actually looks quite cool. Okay then, what's going on over here? Another departure hall. Okay, well let's see landside for a second. Let's just about jump outside and fly all over the building. Because this is quite a large building, seeing for what we saw from the inside at first. So let's see what it looks like landside, as we're about to go to holidays. Okay. Obviously we found the Mac Cafe at first. We gotta set priorities after all. And overall, I really like what it looks like. Could be a little bit more detailed on the inside, but then again, we got rather good performance. So I gotta be happy with that as well. Passenger check-in area. And then let's go upstairs for a second. And here is the security control. Well, let's see where we get when we're going through this. Okay, that looks like it is it. Okay, well, So that is RD Presets Faro Airport. Really like the looks of this one, and I surely hope you do as well. In any case, I would like to thank you very much for flying with me today. Hope that you enjoyed this one. Do let me know in the comments below. Oh, can we go inside here? Well, that's actually quite neat. Seeing that we're a landside and we have stuff in here. That's quite neat indeed. Is there any door? No. Okay, in any case, thank you very much for watching. I surely hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. As always, if you liked the video, do hit that like button and leave a comment if you think there's something I could do better, if you think there's something I did better in the past and that I could return to. And in any case, I would like to use the opportunity to thank you very much for flying. And if you really like what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below, or to welcome you as a channel member, which is going to give you exclusive early access to new videos before they're released for anyone else. Okay. So, before this little flying shadow is going to stop supporting me, I am going to sign off now, and I am going to head for the car rental. So, thanks for flying, and see you all again, hopefully very, very soon.